Alright y'all, I'm back with another video, and this time I'm going to do a couple of things at once. I am going to color while talking to y'all. So as I mentioned in the first video, one of the first ways I started healing my inner child was through coloring. I loved coloring when I was a little girl. I'm very particular about how I color, and so why not just color and yap? So I will color, and then in the end I will actually show you my coloring and how it looks. So we'll go from there, but it's time to color and yap. So yeah, when I started my inner child, healing my inner child back in 2018, I would color. Actually, I think I started coloring before that. So I might have started healing my inner child before that. But once I was actually cognizant of healing my inner child, I definitely did. I remember, yeah, I actually was before. No, it was at the beginning of 2018, I think. I went to, or it was another time. I remember I went to go visit one of my best friends. She lives in Minnesota, and we went to the Crayola store in the Mall of America. And she was looking at me like, girl, why you so excited to be in here? And I was just like, I literally love coloring. And so I went to the Crayola store, bought me like 2 or 3 giant coloring books similar to this. Bought 2 or 3 of them, and then I bought like a whole, I prefer the colored pencils, but I cannot find where my colored pencils are, but the twistable ones, like, if you a real colorer, you know those are really good ones. But anyway, so yeah, I really like coloring, and it's just something that's soothing and just kind of reminds me of simpler times. So that's just one of the more fun ways that I heal my inner child. But how I kind of came to that was I really just started thinking, what are the things that I really like? And oh, you guys can see Zola's in the background. That's my little doggy. But I just kind of was like, what are the things that I really like? And I, was just kind of thinking, okay, when I was a kid, what were things I liked? And I couldn't think for a while. Like, I mean, because you get so far removed, you're like, I don't know what I liked as a kid. And I was never really good at sports. So I was like, okay, it wasn't sports, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I did like coloring. And so that is how I kind of started. Like, I just started coloring, and it was really soothing. I didn't realize how soothing it was. So sometimes, like after work, I would decide to color, and it would just kind of soothe my spirits. So that is just one of the ways that I kind of started healing my inner child. And let's see, trying to yap. I didn't have a plan, and so now I'm over here like panicking, but this is part of me working on things, not trying to be a perfectionist. And I did want to just kind of come on here when I thought about first starting a YouTube channel and just getting more into this world. I said I just really wanted to talk to people like you all are my friends. So sometimes when I'm talking to my friends, I don't have a whole subject of what we're going to talk about. Sometimes we just talk and we just yap, and it just flows. And so that's what I'm going to do here, and while I'm coloring. So yeah, I think that you should find things that bring you joy, and especially things that brought you joy back when you were younger. So if it was something as simple as playing a sport, go outside and play the sport. There are lots of adult teams, especially I've noticed with millennials. I mean, I see groups all the time, like if you're on TikTok or something like that, that are like, oh, this group is getting together, for flag football. This group is getting together for tennis. This group is getting together for pickleball. I know pickleball is like the new thing, but maybe that wasn't part of our childhoods. But, like just doing things like that, a lot of people like stuff like that. So there are ways that you can heal your inner child by doing so. Another way that I healed my inner child, I haven't brought it out yet, but I bought a karaoke mic. I used to sing on my karaoke machine all the time. Baby, I wore my family and their friends out. I used to perform literally for them when I was a little girl. Like, my parents would have little get-togethers and stuff, and I would perform for their friends because I just loved performing, and it was so much fun. And yeah, it's just, there's so many ways to kind of get back and connect with yourself and connect, like, what did I like to do? What are the things? So just kind of sit down and think about it. Or if you have children, you know, I don't have children, but if you have children, I think that's another way you can connect, like seeing what does my kid love to do? And then you kind of remember, hey, I like to do that. You know, hey, like some of my friends are like, they forgot how big and vivid their imagination was. That's something that I like to do. Matter of fact, that's actually a really good topic. I used to, I mean, I've always had a big imagination, but then like, and I would get caught up in daydreaming and be in a whole different world, baby. I'll be in a different country in my daydreams, okay? But I started doing like meditations because in 2020, baby, 2020 broke me, but in the best way. It came together, but baby, it broke me, okay? I lost my mind, quite literally. Well, I wouldn't say, well, there's so many different ways to lose your mind, but I lost my mind in a way of, I just froze. I remember I would sit at my desk at work, and work had become really stressful, which, you know, hey, I was blessed to have a job, but my job was like, oh yeah, we're busy because of the pandemic. And I would work overtime, and you know, at first we all thought it was just going to be a couple of weeks, it was just going to be a little month or two, and it just kept, you know, getting worse. And so I burned out, and my burnout response was I would freeze. I remember I quite literally couldn't do my job anymore. I couldn't think. And then it got to the point, because at the time I had a roommate, and because I was always at work and always on calls on you know, handling different things, my computer got moved to my bedroom because I didn't want to be in our shared space. And so I started realizing, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. So I would sit at my desk literally like this, y'all, just, and then someone would like ping me, and then I would be like, I would read words, but I couldn't comprehend them. It was the scariest thing. When I say I froze, okay? So anyways, I froze. It was really, really hard for me. I ended up taking not one, but 2 leave of absences. And then I eventually, unfortunately, had to quit. But I'll talk about that another day. But what I really wanted to talk about it was something that helped me through that time, was doing things like meditating. And one of my favorite ways to meditate, and like deal, you know, like they'll be like, yo, you manifest this, you manifest that, you know, I would do like imagination meditations. So they'd be like, imagine yourself and blah 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 blah. And at first I was like, this is so stupid. And then after a while I was like, no, I love this. I would be in a whole different world. Partially, probably a little disassociation in there, but you know, that's besides the point. I would be in a whole different world, and I literally loved it. And I started realizing, okay, what do I want my dream life to be like? And so that's when I really was like, I kind of started connecting with, well, what do I want my dream life to be like? I don't know, actually. That's a really good question. And so I started doing different imaginations, and I would imagine myself in different scenarios. Another thing is I started going to therapy during that time again. I started it back up, found a new therapist. And one of the things she said was, hey, what is one of, I want you to picture serenity, and you know, what seems serene to you, and go to that place whenever you feel that you are not in a good place. And to me, that was actually Oregon. I did post a little short about Oregon. I went in 2019, but it truly was one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited in America. I was completely shocked with how beautiful it was. I would not consider myself a nature girly, because, you know, I don't really, not too much wildlife, not too much bugs, but it's beautiful there. It is beautiful there. I mean, you have like, literally you're like driving along the coast, and you have the beautiful ocean on one side, and then on the other side you just have some of the biggest trees you've ever seen in your entire life. And you're like, oh, these trees have seen some things. Like, these trees are so old, so old. Like, and it was just literally, if just look up Oregon coast, look up Newport Beach in Oregon, or what was it, Cannon Beach. Look those places up, Serenity. But anyways, I would imagine myself there again. And so something that also I think is great for healing our inner child and working through our inner child is just allowing ourselves to imagine. Like, just dream. You know, it would be wonderful to just, you know, get back to that. Like, what are the things that you used to dream about? You know, when your teacher would get you in class and be like, hey, pay attention, like, because you were daydreaming, you know, what could you try doing that some more? Like, daydream about some things. What are places that you think of that bring you serenity, that bring you peace? And go to those places. Let your mind get to those places whenever, especially, you are going through things. You know, I think that a lot of times we just we get so caught up as adults. We get so caught up in the work and everything like that. And everyone's like, well, this is just how we are. This is just, you're just going to work for the rest of your life. And, you know, this is just life and blah, blah, blah. But why? Why does it have to be? Who said that? Did you give up? Or is that truly how life has to be? I don't want to. And I don't care if I have to daydream through it all. But I don't want that to be my life. I don't want a boring life. I want a better life. And so that is what I'm striving to do. And I also want other people to think that. I don't want everyone to fall into that easy trap of just giving up on finding joy and getting back to yourself. And it is a process. Like, it's not easy. There are days where I'm like, why in the world would I sit up here and complicate my life by trying to figure out who I, you know, truly am, and why can't I just be happy just doing a job and blah, 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 blah. But it's not me. I was meant for something bigger. I was meant to connect with people. And throughout every hardship, it has led me to realizing this is where I'm supposed to be. Well, maybe not this place. No. But this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be connecting with people. I'm supposed to have a business. I'm supposed to color in my free time. I'm supposed to. Another thing I did, and I'll do a video with that because I actually need to finish that, is Legos. I bought Lego sets, and I think a lot of adults, you've been seeing, like, they have the adult Lego sets. Like, we're connecting with that. And, like, so what if you're like the weirdo who has a bunch of Lego sets? Like, who cares? Whatever brings you peace. And especially in these times, we see so much, we consume so much, and there's so much negativity that is out there in the world. We need these little things that bring us joy, that bring us back to ourselves. So don't be ashamed of that. Like, don't be ashamed, but please find ways to connect with your inner child. Even if it is, like I said, just something as simple as coloring, you know, just something, just get back to those roots, get back to who you are. And then maybe that does mean that you will need a career change, or maybe you actually are living out your dreams and now you just need to continue living out your dreams. You know, who knows? But don't give up on the little person inside of you. As a matter of fact, because it's right here, I'll share it. But, like, I don't want to ever give up on that girl. Let's see, will it focus? I don't want to give up on this girl. Focus. Yeah, there we go. I don't want to give up on her. She is so sweet, so cool, so full of life, had so much positivity. I don't want to give up on her. She had very big dreams, and I want to fulfill them for her. I think that she deserves that, and I think your inner child does as well. So even if it's, you know, you take it day by day, and maybe today you're doing something as simple as coloring in the middle of your living room and talking to the camera, and, you know, maybe someone will actually look at the video so you're not talking to yourself. But if you are talking to yourself, I mean, I talk to myself all the time. I live alone, and, you know, I just say I'm talking to my dog, but I be talking to myself, Chad. Listen, I gotta get these things out of my system, whatever I have to say. And sometimes I be yelling too, and I really want to talk about that. I'm telling you right now, that'll be the next video or a video coming up, because I can talk to you about yelling all day, but I really want to actually yell. But because that's a not so fun but a great way to release things and connect with your inner child. And I'll preface it with this, because one time I did yell. I guess I'll just yap about it. You know what? Whatever. We're still coloring. Who's to say? This is my channel. These are my rules. But you know, one time I was struggling and things happened. I do want to do a different video that will discuss what happened. But some things that happened, and I just started screaming uncontrollably. However, me screaming uncontrollably made me think, hey, why don't we scream more often? Why is it frowned upon? Because let's take it all the way back. You want to talk about healing your inner child? Let's talk about healing the inner baby. What do babies do? It's a natural thing. They scream. They scream when they're frustrated. They scream to communicate. What do toddlers do? They scream. You could come from a very quiet family, and then that baby is born, and that baby gonna scream. That toddler gonna scream. They're releasing emotions. And yes, we have to figure out a way to balance it. And I don't go out and scream in public. I mean, I don't want to be a Karen, okay? And that's how we get Karens. People ain't screaming enough. Matter of fact, people are not screaming enough. That's why they end up in those situations, and then they go off on somebody unwarranted, it seems, because they're not screaming enough. Scream enough before it gets to that point, because it's gonna come out. One thing about it, you can hold on, you can hold into some shit for as long as you want, but it's eventually gonna come out. Literally and figuratively, it's gonna come out. So scream. I scream in my pillow. My favorite place to scream is in the car. Baby, I be screaming in there because I feel like can't nobody hear me. But I scream in the pillow, I scream in the car, okay? Scream and color and daydream, okay? That's all I have for y'all. I'm gonna continue coloring. I will try to see if I can post a pic of it, because it's really hard to kind of color and yap, I'm starting to realize. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long, but really, and just I'm really grateful that you all are joining me on this channel, joining me on this journey as I heal my Chiron wound, which is in Leo, which is all about, you know, being perceived and being seen and being in the spotlight. I'm healing that. And I also want you guys to heal whatever wounds you may have. Like I said, my Chiron is in Leo. If you want to look up your birth time, look up your birth chart, put in your birth time, birthplace, blah, 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 and you will see what your Chiron is and read up on that. It's Chiron, Chiron. Read up on that, see what your wound is, see if you actually relate to that, and see what could you do. So part of that is exposure. Part of that is just putting myself out there. And what you're going to do, laugh at me? You're going to laugh at me from your couch, and I don't know, I might make $2 off this, and you laughing at me from your couch, and you ain't making no money. So anyways, heal your inner child, color, scream, and dream. See y'all next time.